Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. The stock market is open, so you already know we are buying stocks. We are adding assets to the portfolio. There is a few things that I want to talk about today. We have a little bit of news. We have our weekly payments that have been coming in, and we have been stacking our assets. And so far, we are really starting to see some growth in the account, and I love it. But I want to talk about today how I am making 74 cents an hour, 365 days a year in passive dividend income, and I don't have to do a dang thing for it. And how am I doing that? Well, I buy assets. Those assets pay me every week or every month or every quarter, and I just keep stacking and stacking and stacking. And slowly but surely, I will get this to $1 an hour, 365 days a year. So let's talk about it. First things first, as always, let's look at the account for the week. We are up $30 for the day, up 51 for the month, up 2,000, 3 months, 2,200, 1 year, 7,000 or 30%. And then since we moved the account over in March, April of last year, we are up 23.67%. Not too bad for a dividend account that is not growth focused in any way. I will take a 23, almost 24% return. So let's look at it. Buying power, 13,000. We have some options on the table. Our Clean Spark calls are up $325 for the week. We are back to making some big money on that. And of course, we take that money and we put it straight into our dividend account. And we buy more assets with it. BITO, those calls are looking good, up $12. So those should both expire worth it or be able to roll on Friday. And then, we've got a lot of dividends coming in. So we have GLAD that has been declared for the end of the month at $5.77. Yesterday, I went in and bought some assets, 2 shares of RDTE and 5 shares of BITO. So almost $200 there. We had $100 go in on Monday, as we do every single Monday, of fresh capital. And then we had some dividends reinvest from last week, right? So if we go to last week, right here. So we did a Clean Spark roll for $135. We had YMAX dividend, $14.88. IWMY, which is now weekly, $6.64. CONY, our monthly payment of $88.15. QDTE, $45.34, XDTE $30.84, and RDT $21.44. So what I have been really focusing on, and you see the pattern here, is now that we have all these weekly paying, I'm trying to get my weeklies up to $150 a week. And of course, I have most of them on drip for now, but I'm just trying to build the snowball so that that portion of the portfolio just consistently is just printing $150 every single week. I think this week we are at $118. That's hitting every Friday. So between that 100 and 125 for right now, as we continue to buy more shares each and every single week, as we continue to drip, that will go up, and I'm trying to get that to $150 a week. So those are the dividends that came into the account. No fluff there. $13,000 worth of buying power. These are the positions we have in the account. Clean Spark has finally rallied back, which is nice to see. If you've been following me on that one, I got to sign that a long time ago, and we've just been selling small calls. Nice to start really printing some money with the Clean Spark. And we'll probably get back to cash here in the next couple weeks. I'm just going to sell aggressive covered calls until then. Speaking of which, these are down to $4. We're up $330 on this. If I were to roll this position into next week, staying at that aggressive $13 call, we're talking about another $135 for the week. I'm going to wait until tomorrow because this theta decay on the 0.04 to close is going to get down to 0.01. And then I'll roll that out and hopefully get about $150 for the week worth of nice income that I can add to my dividend place. So I want to buy some assets like I do each and every single week. This week, I'm buying some SHD and I'm buying some VTI. I want to buy, yesterday you saw in the orders, I added to my dividend funds. Today, I want to add to these. So I'm just going to be doing in dollars, and I'm just going to do 50 into each. I'm going to take that $100 that we deposited, and I'm putting it into my forever holds, and that is VTI and SCHD, which are some core holdings in the account. These are more growth plays. I get total exposure to the market on VTI, which is now up 25%, and SCHD pays a nice dividend annually and also has some nice growth through it as well. As you can see, we're up 15% on that position. So I'm averaging up on those, but I don't care. They're long-term holds. SCHD, VTI, want to give them a little bit of love. So where are we at? Well, XDTE, QDTE are both about that 142, 143 share range. I'm trying to get those both to 150. Right now, I'm not really purchasing a whole lot of them. I am just adding via drip. And then RDT, we are trying to get that one caught up. Currently at 72 shares, trying to get that to 150. And then BITO, we are just slowly but surely building that position as we go into the next bull run. So not too bad. So we bought some assets this week. We spent about $200 on, about $250 really on assets this week. And then we have a bunch of money that has been coming in because of the dividends and because of the covered calls that we have been selling on CleanSpark and BITO. So that's nice to see. We had some declarations as well, so I want to jump into those. Yield Max, you probably saw this already, but MSTY came out with 175% yield, which equated to $4.19 per share. So I own about 37 shares of this, so that'll be about $156. YMAX came in at 22 cents. I own 81 of those, so that'll be a nice payday as well. And then YMAG, YQQQ, AMZY, APLY, AIYY, DISO, SQY, and SMCY. So these are all the dividends. Geez, look at SMCY, $5.35 per share. So all these pay every 4 weeks. And then, of course, we have YMAX and YMAG that are weekly. I'm only in YMAX, but I am trying to build that position as well, and I'm keeping track of the drip there. For next week, we have TSLY, CRSH, GOOY, YBIT, OARK, XOMO, SNOY, and TSMY. So those are what's on deck for next week if you are following that. On that same note, I do want to talk about, let me just pull this up, my tweet right here. So Roundhill, of course, announced their weekly dividends. Ex-dividend date is today at 10/24, and payday is every Friday, per usual, at 10/25. And QDTE was down to 20.8 cents per share, up from 30.18 last week. XDT up 23.9 cents per share, up from 21 cents last week. And then RDT up 30 to 33.5 cents per share, which was up from the 30 cents last week. So 2 ups, 1 down, not too bad. I'll take it. Just that passive income that comes in each and every single week. So lots of news there on the dividends for the weekly. Again, my goal is raising and trying to get to $1 an hour, 365 days a year, and also trying to get to $150 a week in my between those 5 funds that pay me every single week. So let's jump into the spreadsheet. Let's take a look at how we're doing for the month. Let's take a look at some of the payments that are going to be coming in. But we are at $962.95 for the month as of right now. We will hit $1,000 for the month this week when our 5 payments hit. The RDT, XDT, QDTE will get us to that $1,000 a month, and then we will surpass that. So we have hit our goal once again of $1,000 a month. We're continuing to push onwards and upwards each and every single month as we add new capital through our options and through our dividend plays and through fresh capital. So not too bad there. So 962, another thing to look at. We talked about it just barely, but YMAX with the 22 cents is going to give me roughly $63 in dividends. MSTY, we saw that at $4.19. That's going to give me another $156. So that's up $2.29 from the last month's payment, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, these are the ones on deck that we talked about for next week. So all in all, we have a lot of income stacked up that is going to be coming in that'll get us well over the mark. So if we look here, this is how we're looking for the month. 35% of our dividends have come from BITO. 9%, actually, let me just pull up the graphics. It's a little better looking. So 35% coming in from BITO, CONY 9%, IWMY 6%, and that is now weekly, so that'll slowly just tick up. JEPQ 1.7%, MVDY 8.3%, QDT almost 12%, RDT 6.5%, TSLY 4.6%, XDTE 9.5%, and then YMAX 4.7%. So that's where the money's coming in. Of course, these graphs are just getting crazier and crazier every single month. We are slowly just building it. You can see from last year, the blue, to this year in the green, we are just slowly building a dividend snowball that cannot be stopped. This is how we're looking for the year as of right now. We talked about the 74 cents. So far, year to date, we are at 5,362 monthly. We are at $536 on average per month. Daily, $17.88, and then hourly, 74 cents. So the dividends are stacking. And the options are starting to stack as well. Last month only 35, the month of August 1,012, and this month 178 so far in options income. When I sell calls again this week, we should be right back into that, right? We should do another 100. We just looked at 135 or so. So we should break a solid, I don't know, 350 for the month, depending on the price action tomorrow. So that is looking good as well. One other thing I wanted to take a look at are 3 ETFs, right? We had the new declarations here. Our average for QDTE this in the last month is 25 cents per week, XDTE 22 cents per week, and RDT 32 cents. So not too bad. Slowly building those positions to pay us about $400 a month. And then QDTE, this is the drip calculator. We are now 12 weeks in. We have dripped ourselves over 10 shares and $463 worth of dividend income. Total return, $354 as of this morning. And that is including what our shares are sitting at, up or down, and the total dividends. So the shares are down, but the dividends are up. So we have a nice total return of $354 in the green. XDT, similar picture, up to 142 shares. We've dripped ourselves 6.5 shares, and our dividends have reached now just under $360 worth of dividends. Total return, $339. RDTE, $85 to total dividends, $133 worth of total return. We've dripped ourselves just under 2 shares, and we're only 4 weeks into the RDT journey. And then YMAX as well, one we have been building as of late. We are into week 5 of the YMAX weekly drip, 4.2 shares dripped, which means that our shares have gone out and purchased us 4.2 shares on their own. So far, $96 worth of dividends, $51 worth of total return, and we are up to 81 shares. So the focus for me is building these weekly payers. YMAX, RDTE, XDT, QDTE are my biggest focuses right now. If I can do that and get it to 150 a week, I think the dividend snowball is going to be unstoppable. So we will focus on that, and we will focus every week on just continuing to buy assets. So wanted to showcase that, wanted to show how we are actually making 74 cents a day every single day through dividends. And you saw it here, what assets are paying me, how often they're paying me, and how much money it takes to get paid that. So thank you as always, everybody. Don't forget to drop a like. Hope you enjoyed the content. Happy investing, and we will catch you next week.